Get yourself in the lotus position, because I've got no plan, no pretense, and definitely no bypassing. I'm Josh Connolly, and this will probably be dysfunctional. 3 days, 92 grueling miles, 215,000 steps, 5,000 pounds and more raised, and nothing but my pain, my thoughts, and the lovely messages of encouragement for you lot. All culminating in entering 10 Downing Street in what I hope will become a historical moment in time. Today, I'm going to talk to you about that walk, what went through my head, what I learned, and then we'll do some questions as well. There's a couple of questions at the end that I'm going to do. I've got loads of the toxic parent questions. So we're going to answer a couple of them at the end, but not before I've talked about the walk and just how incredible last week has been. To give you a little bit of an idea of where I'm at now, I arrived home on Thursday, which was the third day. So after speaking in Parliament, I went home and I arrived home about 10 o'clock Thursday night in a lot of pain, like way more pain than I ever could have imagined that I would experience. And so since then, I have been recovering. All my aches and pains seems to have gone, apart from one isolated place on my left leg, which still feels pretty bad. At one point, I was a bit concerned that there might be a stress fracture in there. I'm hoping it's not. I'm going to watch it for a couple more days, and if the pain doesn't subside, because the pain is just a little bit better today, but that's the first day. But we're only, 3 or 4 days since. But everything else is fine. If it wasn't for the pain in the lower leg, I could go for a run now. Not that I fucking would, because I don't like going for runs. But I trained the girls on Friday night, so the day after I got home, I trained the girls Friday night and seemed to be okay. I mean, I was limping about, of course, but yeah, it was feeling good. So I want to just really talk you through the experience, what it was like, what I've learned from the experience, and exactly what we've achieved. Really, I have sort of made some notes on things to check in with, to make sure that I tell you, but I'm still really a little bit in the clouds of it. I've had so many messages of encouragement and support, as I did when, throughout the whole walk, and they were so important really to just keep me going. And I guess I'll start by telling you about how the idea came about. It was literally about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I text Piers, who is communications manager at Nacoa. He's really the brains behind everything now, and a lot has to go to him in terms of what we've managed to achieve in the last week. But I texted him 3 or 4 weeks ago. Look, I'm not a hiker. I don't go hiking. I do a bit of walking with the kids, right? But I'm not a hiker by any stretch. I'd like to think I'm fit. I go to the gym every day. I still play football. It's very different to the repetitive nature of walking. But I said to Piers, I'm going to do this. It's been 10 years since I've been volunteering with Nacoa, so I'm going to go for it. This is what I'm going to do. Walk 92 miles from my house to originally Parliament. And I said I'm going to do it in 3 days. It works out. I put it into the maps. I said it works out about, I'd do 31 miles the first day, 37 miles the second day, and then the last day will be 23 miles. And he was like, yeah, let's go for it. And then so it became. And then Amelia wrote the letter, the 13-year-old girl that wrote the letter. She was 12 originally when she wrote the letter. Pierce was like, why don't we deliver this to Downing Street? So we got the ball rolling on that, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And listen, one thing that I've learned over the years of supporting Nacoa, as a volunteer for Nacoa, and just my work in general of trying to create change, is you have to sort of played a game makes it sound a sort of negative thing, but to create change at a kind of policy level, this it's not about showing the government that there is a problem and then them going, wow, yeah, this we need to do something about it. That's a bit of it. Like, Jonathan Ashworth, Liam Byrne, George Freeman, to name 3 MPs, Caroline Flint, 4th. Like, these people are genuinely people that have really pushed. They've seen the issue through personal experience. They've all really spearheaded this and pushed us forward, right? So there's a certain amount of needing to get them on board. But once you get them on board, in order to create proper change, democracy, really, this is how democracy works, is you have to capture the imagination of the public and get the public to then put the pressure on the government to create change. The government act for the public, right? That's, in theory, how it should all work out. Let's put aside my opinions of some of the other things that go on and power structures and all that. Let's put that aside for a moment and just look at it in this term. And so when you're thinking of things to do, when you're thinking, when we're thinking of this walk, you're thinking, how do we capture the imagination of the public as well? And when you've got somebody like Amelia, I keep saying her name wrong, Amelie, it's not Amelia, Amelie, who's so brave and courageous and has the safety and support that she does from the people around her, particularly her mum Lucy, who's incredible as well. We knew, let's put this letter to use. So you draw upon people as well. And so Callum Best, who has just been incredible, particularly, he's been with Nacoa longer than me, over 10 years, but in the 10 years that I've been there, he's been incredible for Nacoa. So you draw on that, you use that, and I just want to check now that I'm recording. Sorry for the people that are watching on YouTube. That's a COA trait, by the way. Oh shit, have I left the iron on? Oh shit, have I hit record? I have. So we contacted him, and straight away he was like, "Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. Let's meet." And he'll meet me in London alongside Lucy and Amelie, and we found out in the run-up that Good Morning Britain were interested, and that's what you want. You want one of these major news channels on board to, really push the narrative. And as it happened, it was a day of serendipity, right? The final day. And I'll talk about the walk in a bit more detail in a minute, but there was this day of serendipity in the final day. Callum went on telly with Lucy and her daughter, Amelie, and it captured the imagination of the public. And it just so happened that when they were on Good Morning Britain, Jonathan Ashworth, one of the MPs who have spearheaded this for us for a number of years now, happened to be at Good Morning Britain as well, talking about it. And then they met, and then it was because of their meeting and their talking on TV that it changed on the final day from just delivering this letter, which lots of people get to do, to entering Downing Street and having a meeting with the policy advisors. So let me just rewind back now and talk about the walk. In terms of preparation that I did for the walk, I did no training. I bought some stuff, and the only reason the walk went ahead, a good friend of mine, Mark, and I won't say his full name because I don't know how happy he would be for me sharing. I'm sure he would, but for the sake of safety, he knows who. Mark, you know who you are if you are listening. I think you do. He's probably the main reason the walk went ahead. He does a lot of long distance running and like these kind of marathon things. So we were sitting having dinner. This was 3 weeks ago. I said, I'm thinking of doing this. Could I do it? And he was like, yeah, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And as he's joked recently, with the right training and the right equipment, you could do it. When are you doing it? And I was like, oh, it's in 3 weeks. He's like, right, so no training then. And I said, but listen, what I want to know is, will I have the time each day to walk those? And he's like, yeah, you're looking at 12 to 15 hours each day with little or no rest. So it's doable. And he put me on to the trainers. Are they Hacker? I can't remember what they're called. Hoka. And that day I went to get the trainers. They were expensive, but they were a godsend. These were like trainers, waterproof, made for walking these distances. I told the guy in the shop, this is what I'm doing. I'll be off-roading quite a bit. So he got me hooked up with the right trainers. And the other piece of advice that Mark gave me was Compeed plasters. He said, whenever your feet are rubbing, It will not get better. It will only get worse. Make the commitment to, as soon as you feel a rub, stop, put the Compeed plaster on then. That will help prevent what's going to happen, it worsening, and then get on your merry way. And as you're going to find out in a bit, was the best advice that, that I've had. So, I bought a load of kit. Not a load of kit. I had trainers. I bought some hiking socks. A few people said make sure that you have the right socks. So I bought some hiking socks. I bought a load of energy gels. Forgot to take my electrolytes. I took paracetamol and ibuprofen. I took all my filming gear. That was probably the thing I was most worried about. And that's it. I took a trail mix, as in a bag of nuts, and I bought a new bottle to put water in. And that was it. I put it in the maps. I downloaded an app called OS Maps that I'd sort of Googled that was the best for hiking, and set about it. Set about going. So I woke up on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, packed my bag. My bag, by the way, weighed about 10 kg, which is fucking heavy. If I was going to do anything differently, it would be not take such a heavy bag. I took my fucking laptop, my iPad. I took my laptop because on day 2, I was doing the Nacoa social. I could have just done that on my phone. And I took my iPad because there was football on both nights and I didn't want to miss it. And I was so fucking shattered both nights. There was no way I was watching football. So I could have left my iPad, my laptop. The laptop's heavy. But there was lots of like chargers and power banks that I took. I took 3 power banks because I was worried about like GoPro battery, phone battery, going live and all that stuff. I used 1 a day. They were heavy. So like these are all post learnings. And I set about it. I left at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was freezing cold. Very, very cold. 1 degree, 2 degree when I left. And obviously the first couple of hours were in the pitch black. And like I say, I set about it. My plan the first day was to just walk. Walk, be online, and it was very fun at the beginning. I remember reaching 10 miles and thinking, this is fucking brilliant. You're 10 miles in. I took my headphones. I took 2 sets of headphones because they're both, needed charging. As in, I took my AirPods and my over-the-head earphones. I did not use them the whole time. Did not get them out at any point. By the 3rd day, it became a little bit, they call it raw dogging, didn't they? Like, where I weren't going to put them on, but the first 2 days I didn't want them. 10 miles in, did a post with 10 miles in, and then I started to feel the support, and it was amazing. But like my thoughts on the first day was to just get there. My water was in my bag, the nuts were in my bag, and every now and then I would stop, have a little bit of water, put that back in my bag. The bag was so heavy, man. So I would take the bag off, have some water, and put it back in. As I got to like 20, 25 miles, that became a bit of a nightmare, It became something that let's just get here. Every time I stopped, I felt like I was slowing down. So I wasn't drinking water. But day 1, I started to get a rub on the back of my foot. I thought a bit of mud or something was stuck in the sock. That's what it felt like. But I remembered what Mark said. So I was like, fuck, man, stop. So I stopped. Put my bag down. This could have been, I don't know if this was day 1 or day 2, to be honest, but I'm telling you as if it was day 1. I'm pretty sure it was day 1. Took it off. Of course, there was a little rub appearing, a little bit of a blister. Got the Compeed on it. It sorted it perfectly. On my way again. As dark set in on day 1, I was starting to feel like way more tired than I expected. Like physically drained. Not good. Didn't feel good. Fucking plowing down these miles. Just get there. And day 1, look, what's interesting is I reckon until I got to Newbury, which was right at the end, and I found a Tesco's and I got some food and I bought a bottle of drink in there. Until there, I reckon I saw 5 or 6 people. Like I was in the middle of nowhere. Like I was near some roads sometimes. So I walked down a couple of roads where there were people in cars, but actual people I didn't see. And I just realized that like how much I enjoyed being with myself. When I sit in the office and I'm working alone, or if I spend too much time alone, just sat, I go crazy. My nervous system seems to dysregulate. I don't feel good. I've spent the last 12 years trying to be somebody who sits in the fucking lotus position and can do that for an hour. It doesn't work for me. I don't feel good when I do it. what I learned when I was walking, I felt so free, man. I felt so comfortable in my head. I felt so alive. And I just realized that you don't have to sit in the lotus position, man. I mean, I've talked about this in the past, but it really hit it home for me. I'm not meant to sit in the lotus position. I'm not meant to sit in the lotus position. I'm meant to fucking be moving my body, you know? When I do my meditation now, I move my body a lot because I get this extra energy in me. And just to be out there in the middle of nowhere and be so comfortable in who I was and what I was doing and just one foot in front of the other, it was amazing, man. It was, and I enjoyed it. And I want to build, if I can, get through this injury, I want to build walking in more regularly. Just how much my mind slowed down. And, you know, I do a lot of stuff, and it's weird. Look, even as I go to say it, I worry, feel like I'm over bigging myself up, but I do a lot, man, in my work. You know, I do a lot. I hear a lot of stories. I do a lot of holding space and holding energy and all of that kind of stuff for people. And I'm busy, man. Like, my life is very busy now, doing things that I love and that are amazing. But it was just nice to slow down. And what's interesting is that on day 3, just to jump about a little bit, most of that walk from Windsor to London was near roads. I think at 6 a.m. I was walking along. So I had to leave at 5 a.m. on the third day. At 6 a.m. I'm next to the M4, and just the sound of the cars, even that started to speed my head up again, and I started to want to put my headphones on. I started to feel overstimulated, and like I just realized that, like, you know, the world feels heavy. The world feels too fast, like there's too much going on. I sort of need that fast pace. I need to be moving. But everything in my head, it overstimulates me. And it's this kind of paradox of give me more, let me move quicker. I can't be too still, but fucking get rid of the noise and stop overstimulating me. And so that's why walking in silence away from anybody, so that I'm walking, I'm moving, it was like it was just enough. It was just right for me. It was just what I need. Enough movement, enough going and doing all of that stuff, but not being overstimulated by these kind of external things. So as we came towards the end of day 1 and darkness set back in, and then the head torch was back on, and I was so tired, man. I felt so poorly, really, now looking back at it. And I got to the hotel and I checked in and there was no bath. So I had a shower. I'd left at 6. I think I got there about 6, half 6. And I just thought, I got to go to sleep. I can't deal with this. I don't feel good. I feel so tired. And so I went to sleep at 8 o'clock. I set my alarm for 5 to get up. It was 4:30 because I wanted to leave at 5 originally. Set my alarm for 4:30. And I must have fell asleep like on my arms crossed in front of me, because I woke up 2 hours later. And both my arms were dead. I'd sort of passed out on them. And I was fucking sweating and shaking. And I was like really shaking, violently shaking. And that's severe dehydration. I thought, fuck. I actually Googled it quickly. Like, why am I shaking so much after a hike? And it was like, that's severe dehydration. So I started to, you know, get fluids on board. I sweated all night. I woke up every couple of hours. And just downed more water. When I woke up in the morning at 4:30, I was so bad, man. I had a really bad headache. So I'd forgot my fucking electrolytes. Like I said, I don't know why they didn't end up in my bag, but they didn't end up in there. I needed them bad. And lots of people were messaging me saying, get electrolytes and that. And I was thinking, you don't understand. I'm leaving at 5 a.m. and I don't walk anywhere near any shops. This isn't, and like, you know, I was walking along the edges of town, but to go in and find a shop could add 40, 50, 20 minutes in, 20 minutes out doesn't feel like much when you're not fucking walking miles. So I filled my water up, got walking. I could see that Reading, I would go straight through the middle of Reading. Wasn't quite sure how many hours that would be in, but I just got walking, held my bottle the second day. I took some paracetamol, ibuprofen, and was sipping the water regularly. And what was great was I found myself start to hydrate and come back to life. I realised the day before that I hadn't eaten either. I was just getting there. So I was eating more trail mix. And then I got to Reading after maybe, fuck me, what time was that? I'd left in the end about 5:30. I wanted to make it for the Nacoa social. The Nacoa social was 7:30. So I had 14 hours. So I got to Reading 11, 12 o'clock. Managed to go in a Tesco's garage. I bought loads of electrolytes and some water, filled that up. And I was feeling good, man. And then I started pounding down the walks again. As I got through, I got a coffee in Reading in McDonald's. Couldn't find any other coffee shop. You don't want to veer off course when you're walking like this. You got to bear in mind, I wasn't taking any breaks, right? There's no sitting down. If you sit down, you're worried you're not going to be able to go again. I'd done 31 miles the first day, remember, yeah? So I'm just pounding down, just get going. But I'm eating now and I'm drinking regularly on this one. And I'm just trying to, once I got through Reading, I'm struggling again. I'm fucking starting to feel it because you're all excited to get to Reading, right? In fact, I remember the mileage. I'm excited to get to Reading. When I got to Reading, I'd done 17 miles, right? So you're like, yes, I've got to Reading, done it, had my coffee. And then you start to come towards the other end of Reading and you're like, I'm not even halfway. I'm not even halfway. I think I celebrated halfway. When I got the coffee in Reading, I celebrated halfway overall. So I'd hit 40 miles, 45 miles or whatever it was. But halfway overall, wasn't even halfway for the day. And then you start to go, oh my God, I've done 17 miles. I still got 20 left. And then, I won't say their name again because I'm just wary of saying people's name without their permission. I haven't asked their permission. But a lovely lady had seen me, drove past me in Reading, said she recognized me from Instagram and was like, oh my God, is that Josh? Then she pulled in and looked on Instagram, saw that I was doing the walk, and then she walked up and was like, excuse me, can I walk with you for a minute? And I was like, yeah, of course you can. And then she explained, I just seen you, and then you get this big lift, man. You need them. You fucking need them, man. And then I walked with her for a couple of minutes, did a selfie and all that, and then you're off again. And then I was coming out the other side of Reading, 17 miles, and you're just biting down on the gum shield then. Not that I was wearing a gum shield, metaphorically, yeah. Then I found my toe on my right foot rubbing. So again, as suggested by Mark, in the middle of nowhere, bomb off. Yep, blister is coming on my big toe. I wrap him up with the compi plaster and then we're off again. And I got to 30 miles, 32 miles, and then it was dark. And so now I am in Windsor. I'm getting towards Windsor, the next hotel that I'm staying in, and I'm up against it for time. It's we're talking 6 o'clock now. The Nacoa social's at 7:30. It's telling me it's going to take me an hour and a half to get there. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to make it. And then I started slowing down. My legs, I can't tell you, but particularly on day 2, my legs were bad, man. Really hurting me. Just walking, trudging through pain, and I'm slowing down and I keep thinking I need to speed up. I need to get there, right? I'm running out of time. I want to be there for the Nacoa social, and I couldn't pick the pace up. I'm walking at 2 miles an hour now. Slow, trudging. Gets to 7, it's half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm crying now. Yeah, I've done a bit of crying, speaking to my wife and the children at home and pushing me on, messages from people. It's all really helping. But there's a lot of swearing now. Fucking just got to get there. And then I got there. Made it. I got there at about 8 o'clock by the time I got into the hotel room. So having left, I think about 5:30, which was a bit later than I wanted to, got there at 8 o'clock. So you're talking I don't even know what that is. I have 15 hours walking non-stop, no break. And I made it. And then there's one more day to go. So I did the Nacoa social. That gave me a real lift. There was a bath at this hotel, so I had a hot bath. Ended up getting to sleep, I don't know, by about 10 p.m. that night, 10:30. Then I had to get up at 4:30 because I was late for the Nacoa social, but I couldn't be late for Parliament. 3 o'clock, had to be there. The clock was telling me 10 hours walk. It was 23 miles the final day. So I woke up. The Compeed plasters were coming off because the bath that I had 3 of them on my right foot by now. So I had to redo the back, redo the front. The one on my big toe, the blister was like covering the whole top of my big toe. It was fucking bad. And I thought, it's just a marathon. It's just 23, 24 miles. And I was struggling at that point then to walk. Really struggling, actually, to tell you the truth. And so the last 23 miles, fortunately, was mainly on concrete. I don't know how fortunate that was, actually. But just not difficult terrain. The first day, particularly, the terrain had been so hard to walk in, so hard. But anyway, chowing down on this concrete. And I was limping. The whole time. But I got into London, So I was walking past shops regularly, grabbing a coffee, then needing a wee and being in built up areas. And like all of a sudden I became aware of what I looked like. I was starting to look a little bit sort of gaunt, like I'd been walking for days. And then it sort of dawned on me that I'm going to get here to Downing Street and then I'm going to, I'm going to be with Callum Best, the best dressed, best smelling man on the planet. And I'm going to be stinking the place out. And of course, the walk, a Good Morning Britain happened. And then I'm, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 miles in, walking down the A4 west, coming in west of London. Get the message from peers, we're going into Downing Street. It's like, what? We're fucking going in. I'd seen the clips of Good Morning Britain. And I'm just like, yeah, man, let's go. We're going in Downing Street. This is like real change, man. So we get there. Anyway, I get to Downing Street, right? It's a fucking, I'm in a bad way, right? If I wasn't, I probably would have laid it on thick, but I didn't need to. Like, I really wish I was laying it on thick. I wasn't. Got there, met some of the people from Nacoa. It was nice, but there's work to do now. I get there at 3:00 after a marathon that day, 23 miles, in pain. I've got all these smartly dressed people that I've met at Downing Street. I'm in dirty shoes. I stink. My hair, been under that Bassett Bobbelat for 3 days. It stunk. I could smell it. I was like, and I couldn't walk, and I was tired, man. I was tired. But we're going in. And originally, Jonathan Ashworth says to me, listen, I don't know how long we won't get very long in there, a couple of minutes maybe. Introduce yourselves. I'll talk a bit about policy. We're going to have a meeting with Keir Starmer's policy advisors. Let's go. All right, couple of minutes in there. Brilliant. It's 3:00 now, yeah? I've been up, left at 5 that day. We get in there. Some guy comes over, I'm going to give you a tour of Downing Street. We're like, what? So now we're getting a full tour of Downing Street. Before we go for the tour, we bump into Rachel Reeves. Could be wrong on the name there, but she's the Chancellor. Jonathan Ashworth's like, there's the Chancellor. Like, this is the woman that's in charge of all the money. She's just walking up in the house. He's like, we've got to have our moment. So we managed to speak to her, told her why we were there, got to speak to the fucking Chancellor. This is like crazy. So then we're doing this. I kid you not, right? We're going around Downing Street, right? We're in this room. It's like me, fucking muddy, stinking, Callum, Amelie, Piers from Nacoa, Amelie's mum, and Jonathan Ashworth. And we're in these rooms, and the guy's like, so this is the room where we declared we're going to war with Germany. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? How am I here? How am I here? And then I kid you not, right, this happens. We're in this one room. There's people walking in and out. Yeah, there's like hundreds of people working down the street. There's politicians are all in there, whatever. Door opens. 2 guys walk in, but one of them, it's Nacoa, isn't it? I recognise the hoodie. We're like, yeah. And he's looking at me and he goes, and I recognise you. Josh, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, follow you on Instagram. Love your work. Love what you're doing. Oh, thanks, mate. What's going on? So we explain, I've just walked, we delivered this letter. Oh, I saw you were doing a walk. Of course I did. I was like, yeah. So this is not planned. He's like, wait, so who are you having a meeting with? So we explained the policy team. He says, I work on the policy team. I'm coming to the meeting. We're like, fucking hell. I mean, like, look, you get noticed in Downing Street by, like, this is like, stuff that dreams are made of. So we carry on with the tour. It's a fucking, incredible experience in Downing Street. I mean, Amelie, the young girl, she's just incredible that she's there doing this. Tired, bless her. She's been up since fucking God knows what time, yeah? To be on Good Morning Britain. You've got to be up early. What a fucking hero. What a fucking trooper, man. So then we go and have this policy meeting, and we're there for 25 minutes. We're sat around the table, 3 of the policy advisors, your man who's walked in on us and recognised Nacoa, me, Callum, Amelie's mum Lucy, Piers from Nacoa, and Jonathan Ashworth, and we pitch. This is the support we need. The guys are interested, man. Like, they're listening. We talk about the plight of children and why it's important for specific funding. Now time's getting on. It's 4:45, yeah? We got a fucking event starting at 5 o'clock down the road in Parliament. Can't believe I say this. So we're like, thank you, great, shake hands. We go get all of our stuff. Obviously, they don't let you take your phones in or nothing like that. And we walk 10 minutes down the road from Downing Street. We're in Parliament now. We meet up with the likes of Tony Adams, George Freeman. I bump into Liam Byrne, the MP. He's not heard what's going on. These guys are busy, yeah? He's like, you're in shorts, crazy. What's going on? I was like, have you not heard? I walked here. He's like, you walked here. Explained what happened. I said, we delivered the letter to Downing Street. Oh, you managed to get to post it? I was like, no, they let us in. He's like, they let you in? He's like, this doesn't just happen. So we're like, wow. Then we're with Tony Adams, George Freeman. There's loads of us there. I'll forget names, but Camilla Tominey, Hillary's there, of course. The Nacoa family, there's 150 people there. So we deliver a talk, I deliver a talk, Tony Adams does a talk, Callum does a talk, George Freeman does a talk, Liam does a talk, Jonathan Ashworth does a talk. It's amazing. Amelie gets up and reads her letter, and I'm fucking gone, crying then, and it's like, wow, what a day. And then I sat there, my phone's obviously there in front of me. I'm stinking in shorts, aching. My phone up and fucking there's an email, and I have a look. It's the policy advisors. They've emailed me already. I'm like, Callum, have you seen that? He's like, I just got one too. I was like, what the I was like, Liam, the MP, have you seen this? He's like, what? They're emailing. And so then all of a sudden we grab the mic. We're just about to end the thing. We're like, they've already emailed. Callum's like, say, mate. So it was just crazy. What a crazy, crazy time, man. And then, we get to chat to everybody, say hello, take pictures. And then I left there. I got the tube. I have to bear in mind, I'd walked the last leg still that day. I got the tube. Then I got the train home. And I was home by 10 o'clock. And back Friday, the next day, that evening, I'm coaching the under 10 Bassett girls. Just thinking, wow, we raised, there's donations are still coming in. We're up near £5,500. Our original target was £1,000. Incredible, really. My my phone's been going crazy and stuff, and this is what you hope for now. You hope that the government will listen. I'm recording this on Monday now, so we've been on Good Morning Britain again this morning. They've talked about the fact that we went in, that we met with the policy advisors. So this is huge, man, and this is not gimmicks and stuff. We're hopefully creating real change here. And just on a personal perspective, because I don't look. I look like 10 years ago when I first found Nacoa, I really was looking for some validation. I was looking to be seen. This really isn't about me. It's about using the platform that I've built very purposely for this kind of work, you know. I make a living out of what I do now. I do a lot of work with corporate environments. That's where I make a lot of my money so that I can do this stuff full time. Started to build a social media platform. I didn't have social media. I started to build that 10 years ago when I found Nacoa, because I realized if you can build a platform, then you can push and create change. And that's what we've done. And on a like personal perspective, let's just take a breath a minute. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Like on a personal perspective, in May, in a couple of months' time, I'll be 13 years sober. Before that, I don't think anybody believed I would get sober. I was known as Josh from the Wheatie. Some people called me fucking noise machine because I was just in the Wheatie, drunk. And I remember that my hopes and dreams back then, I had 4 kids at the time. I hoped that my children would talk favorably of me when I was gone. I hoped that they would be able to see through my failings, to see through my addictions. I assumed back then at the age of 22, 23, I'd be dead soon. That's what I thought, if not doing it myself by the ways that I acted. And I hoped that they would talk favorably of me. I hoped that they'd be able to say, despite everything, we knew and saw that he was a good person. Somewhere along the line, somehow, my life changed dramatically, and I found sobriety on the 14th of May, 2012. And I think most of us are, to a degree, dysfunctional, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not I'm not a saint by any stretch of the mark. But I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about creating some kind of change. I'm passionate particularly about reaching support for children and people that don't get it and don't get the support that they deserve. And when we do stuff like this, it's huge. And, you know, if I left this world tomorrow, which touch wood, and this is something in itself, touch wood, I won't leave the world tomorrow. That's, you know, me saying that, it even in and of itself is something. But if I left this world tomorrow, there wouldn't be much bad that my family and my kids would have to look through to see that I'm a good person. The kids are proud of me. My wife's proud. The family's proud. And I feel very lucky in that respect. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, the world and life throws a lot at you. But we move. We move. And we make headway. As always, I've not followed my notes at all. Let's finish with a reflection. I'm not going to do the questions. It doesn't feel right to do questions on toxic parents from before. The reason that we do all of this is because children of alcoholics deserve specific funding. They deserve a right of access to support, free from whether their family's engaging in any kind of support. They deserve to be able to feel empowerment and feel empowered. And I really think that this could be the start of reinstating a plan for children affected by parents drinking again. And that's what this has all been about. And that's what really matters. I've learned a lot. Look, I'll be honest with you, I didn't learn a great deal about myself. That the bit about walking and enjoying that, I guess that's a learning. But I knew I could do that walk. And I knew I could do that walk because I'm the fucking child of an alcoholic. Like, my life, my personality, who I am, who I've become, was built with no support, was built in grueling circumstances. And then I went to the depths of despair myself. Nothing, like, I've been to the edge. There's nothing I can do in my life today that will be worse than where I was. I was at the end. So I knew I could do that. I knew I could do it. And let's just hope that as a result of doing it, that we make sure that children don't have to fucking develop what I've developed in the way that I've developed it. They can develop it in healthy ways. And that's what I hope for. I don't know how fucking rounded that was. But it's been nice, man. It's been nice to sit down and do a full rundown of the walk. Yeah, maybe I've got the bug for grueling challenges, and so maybe we'll do more in the future. Who knows? But as always, we know one thing for sure on this podcast. I have been Josh Connolly. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support and everybody's encouragement over the last week. But this has definitely been dysfunctional. I did tell you it would be dysfunctional. So thank you for sticking around till the end here. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, then please help me to grow Dysfunctional by sharing with your friends on social media. You can find me at Josh_FFW. And then wherever you're listening to this or watching this, please make sure that you've liked and subscribed, left us a 5-star review and a comment if your platform allows it. And I'll see you on the next one.